welcome back to the Grow RDH podcast. I want to welcome you. If you are new here, hello, my name is Katie, and actually this is probably the best episode to start with because I am going to talk about myself on this episode. And I want to just preface this by saying this is sort of awkward for me, and hopefully the delivery of this is really authentic and maybe a little bit different than things that I've posted in the past. I apologize for missing an episode last week. I am so sorry. And sometimes when we have tech issues, it just is what it is. But I was so bummed because that episode was going to be the first in-person episode that I did, and it was really fun to record, and we are planning to re-record it, so keep an eye out. But yeah, I just wanted to say if you were anticipating an episode last week, my apologies. But I thought it was necessary because I do have some repeat listeners, and I thought it was necessary for you guys to learn about me and learn a little bit about my professional background, my personal background, who I am as a person, and why this podcast was created in the first place. So that is the intention behind today's video. And if you are a repeat listener, or if you're a subscriber, or if you have been sort of following along as we've done these podcast episodes, thank you so much. I cannot express enough gratitude to just really thank you. And it's been great. It's been really fun. It's been therapeutic for me to do these. And if you would consider, if you've been seeing my videos and you are enjoying the content or want to get more engaged with the content, please consider subscribing. It does help push my videos out, and it helps me see who my supporters are. And hopefully, if you are enjoying this, you want to share with a dental hygiene friend of yours, that would be great too. So, about me. Again, I said this episode is just going to be a little bit different, and I want to share why I am doing this and why I am making these videos and making this podcast, because it has been really fun and therapeutic, like I said. So I was just going to start, I think I'm going to start talking first about my professional career, because you are all hygienists. That's why you're here. You're here for the hygiene content. So I thought it would be beneficial to tell you a little bit about myself professionally. I graduated from University of South Dakota in 2009. And I don't know about you. Comment below if you feel this. But the friends that I made in dental hygiene school are still friends today. We still keep in touch. We have a Facebook group that we're constantly in touch. I keep in touch with many of them very closely still. We are constantly asking each other questions in our group chat, and that alone has been amazing community for me. So comment below, do you feel the same way? Do you still keep in touch with some of your dental hygiene students that you graduated with? It's interesting now being an educator, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but now being an educator, you kind of see this come and go. Some classes are really, really tight, and then some classes just don't maybe mesh as well. And so you can kind of feel the closeness and feel the not closeness. And so I just find it interesting. So I'm interested to hear your story, if you agree with me or if you kind of experienced that as well. I think it's because dental hygiene school is so hard and stressful, and it makes you bond. It's like, I don't know, is it trauma bonding? Who knows? But it is such a stressful time, and we really bonded together as a class, and we studied together, and we were a network that we could lean on. And it was so beneficial to me at the time, and it's still beneficial to me today. So 2009, I worked private practice for 1 year right out of school. Had one private practice, and then I moved and I worked at that private practice for about 2.5 years. And after about 1 year of private practice, I did decide to go back and get my master's degree. I graduated from Eastern Washington University with my master's. And again, just like my bachelor's program, my master's program, again, I made such great connections Two of my thesis committee are still really, really close friends to me today. They are confidants, they are colleagues that I reach out to constantly and ask for advice. And we don't quite keep in touch as our cohort because we all graduated at different times, but we still, social media and stuff like that. So that has been great. And I started working at the college at University of South Dakota in 2012. And I started in a prison rotation, which I'm still at. So the only difference is when I started there, I was a clinic instructor fully. And I didn't get into teaching courses until I finished my master's in 2013. And so shortly after that first year, then I started teaching courses. And my courses have changed over time. I now currently, which it doesn't sort of matter my path, I guess, but currently I teach dental anatomy, ethics and jurisprudence, which is kind of combined into a leadership course. And then I teach the perio sequence. I think out of all of them, definitely hands down, the perio sequence is my passion. I love teaching perio, not only in the classroom, but then when I get to have the students with me in the clinic, in the prison, it is my absolute favorite. It's where you see the light bulbs come on, you see the didactic stuff that they're learning join with the clinical stuff that they're experiencing. And because of our population in the prison that I'm in, heavy perio cases, heavy calculus buildup, heavy inflammation. Many of our patients have never had their teeth cleaned. We just started one today, which is why I have wet hair, because I had clinic today. And again, just two of our patients today, over 40 years old, never had their teeth cleaned. And I cannot tell you, I think the amount of learning that I see, even taking the students from one Thursday to the next Thursday and seeing their progression and seeing the light bulbs come on, I can't even describe, I'm sounding like a nerd. I can't even describe the feeling that I get when I get to see that development and that growth and see how, like, you learn it in a classroom setting and it just seems so abstract. And then you get to see the frications, you get to see the exudate, the pus, the mobility, and it all sort of comes together. And it's amazing. And it's why I'm passionate about perio. It's why I'm passionate about instrumentation and all of those things, okay? Dental anatomy is a course that I really hesitated to jump into. And the more I have taught it, I'm teaching it for my 5th year right now. And the more that I teach it, the more that I'm like, for me, my light bulbs are going on. Like, it makes it easier to teach perio. It makes it easier to get them ready to teach local. Next semester, when they get into local class, you'll see those connections being made and everything maps together, right? And so that's why I think the dental hygiene curriculum is so unique and so great. Ethics and jurisprudence, whole other level of satisfaction. We have recently started taking our students to lobby day where they get to experience what it means to write a bill or make a legal change. That is amazing. And it's also a place where the clinic and the didactic work gets to bleed into what their professional life is going to be. We talk about values and we talk about the practical applications of being an employee, what it means to be an employee, what are the labor laws. And again, it's just exciting because I think to them, it's kind of getting them ready and they get a taste of what real life is going to be looking like and what they want for their future. A lot of them are starting to already think about grad school, which is amazing. And so that's really fun. So that is my current professional life. Now, I do work at the school 9 months out of the year. And then whenever I'm off, not with students, I also work clinically at the same prison that we bring the students to. And keeps me It keeps me up on my clinical skills. It keeps me relevant in terms of clinical skills. The only thing that I do miss is being in that private practice setting. And I think I've said it on a few different episodes, but again, I'm not currently in a private practice where we have to deal with insurance and coding and billing. And so I think that's a piece where I really lack. And I'm a little bit more unaware of the current ways of the dental practice on the daily. So I think that's one of my weaknesses. So professionally, that's what I'm doing currently. And so some of my professional life bleeds a little bit into my personal life. And so I'm going to transition now and start talking about my personal life and how that's brought me to where I am professionally today. So I am a mother. I have 3 wonderful children. I have a son, and he is the oldest, and he definitely has oldest type tendencies. If you ever follow birth order, I am also an oldest child, and definitely birth order applies to me and it applies to him. And then I have 2 twin daughters, and they are just wild and crazy. They are fraternal. So no identical piece there, and you can tell they don't look anything alike. They're very different personalities, different look, build, everything is different. So, and one of them is significantly bigger than the other one, almost to the point where when we're out in public, a lot of the times people think that my oldest twin and the bigger twin is actually significantly older than the younger twin because they are so different in size. It ranges, they go on growth spurts at different times, but one of them is a lot taller and just bigger built, more muscular structure. She's just a bigger child. And yeah, a lot of people mistake her for being a little bit older. But nope, they are twins and they are the same age and they're great. I am a single mother, which that is sort of where my path kind of forked in the road, right? Everybody who has been divorced knows that their divorce story is never perfect. And I'm not going to get too personal here, but I am willing to share that when my official, finally moved out for the last time, divorce, I guess separation, the divorce wasn't final until 6 months later, but it was right before COVID hit. And I remember this so vividly because of the timeline of this. We moved out, me and the kids moved out, and it was the weekend before spring break. And if you remember, March 2020, it was a wild time. We went on spring break, that first weekend of spring break. Usually it's kind of a week suctioned into sandwiched. It was like a week sandwiched in between 2 weekends. So that first weekend, me and the kids moved out, and the house that I was intending to move into wasn't quite finished yet. And so we had rented a camper to stay in until it was finished, which it was not, it wasn't that significant or bad. It was great. It was comfortable. I was very grateful for that at the time. Trust me, very grateful to be out of a situation we didn't want to be in. And so we moved into this camper, and I'm thinking, I got this. I can do this. I have 1 week of spring break to kind of, get this going. Well, COVID hit during spring break. A lot of schools started to shut down. And I think it was that Monday or Tuesday of spring break, so 1 or 2 days after we moved out, we got the notice, we got an email that said, we are stay at home or work from home orders, and you have 1 week, you have the week of spring break to transition all of your course material to online or virtual. And I tell you what, I panicked because my childcare was no longer available and I was in a very small space, and it was in the middle of winter, which we're from South Dakota. So if you are from the Midwest, you know that the weather can change in an instant. It was fairly nice at the beginning of that week, but it soon after that got very cold and snowy. There was a snowstorm, I think 3 weeks into this. And so that required a lot of inside time. And yeah, I think Harvey at the time was 5 and the twins were 18 months old. So it was stressful, to say the least. It was during that time that a sane, logical person would hunker down and just probably, do things a little bit smarter. Not me. Oh no, I decided, because you do crazy things when you're in the middle of a divorce. I don't know if you know that, if you have any divorced friends or if you're divorced yourself, you do crazy things. And I had been thinking, I want to get my PhD. And for some reason, I thought that that was a great idea to start. Now, granted, I'm giving myself a little slack here because I had already signed up for classes like right at that same time. I think I thought, I don't know what I was thinking, but the timing of it was just probably the worst timing ever. And I was like, no, I can do this. I was like, give yourself a week. If you can make it through a week, you'll be fine. And I kept telling myself that. Give yourself a week, give yourself one more week. You can do this. You kind of go on survival mode and you kind of like, it's almost like childbirth. You don't remember how painful it is because you just like block it out. I don't know, but it was awesome. It was great, but it was hard. And looking back, I do think, and I truly believe, I think that if I wouldn't have done that, I think I would have drove myself crazy. Truly, I needed that to focus on. And the transition from online or from in-person classes to online classes probably could have been enough. It would have been enough for me. And I probably would have done fine making that life change. But I do think I truly relate that starting my PhD at that time, it gave me something to focus on. And just to get a little bit vulnerable, it gave me something to spend my time on after the kids went to bed. My kids were very young at the time. And I think if I would have been stuck in a camper with 3 kids under the age of 5, it's like the busyness is busy until it's not. And then it's quiet. And then you're alone. And you're alone with your thoughts and you're alone with your feelings. And you felt very isolated. And I think that I had that PhD work, I had my coursework to keep me focused, to keep my mind busy, to give me a purpose and a goal and something that I can funnel my energy into. So I wasn't dwelling. I wasn't thinking about the negative. I wasn't thinking about, I'm in the worst possible situation right now. No, I'm focused, I'm driven, and I can do this. I can do this. Give yourself a week, week at a time. That's what I did. And it worked out great. I am just finishing. I'm not officially graduated. My coursework's all done. My dissertation, I'm a candidate, and I have written my whole draft. It's now with my committee, and that just takes time. It's been back and forth through the committee, through the quality assurance. It'll go to quality assurance next. And it just takes time to get it kind of finalized. So I anticipate being done with that very, very soon. And I'm excited to say that I did it working full time. I did it as a single mom. And if you're ever considering anything like that, just do it. Just do it a week at a time. You can do it. So that's my story of how my personal life sort of meshed with my professional life. Because then once I decided to get my PhD, my PhD is in psychology. And I have an emphasis in cognition and instruction. I thought it fit both with my desire to understand self-awareness, self-efficacy, and what it means to be driven, what motivates people, what gets people to do the things that they know they should do. And also instruction, obviously, it helps with my job at the school. It helps me understand how students learn, helps me understand learning preferences, and fun fact, learning styles are a myth. So that has been so impactful in how I deliver my courses. Sometimes it's a little bit of a pain point in delivering courses in a different method, or doing things differently than some other instructors just because of the things that I've learned that really truly make a difference. And I feel as strongly about evidence-based teaching as I do as evidence-based care as a hygienist. It's the same to me. So when I know a tactic or a strategy is working and I know it works because of a scientific reason, I strive to do that. And it's really impactful. It has led me to have an interest in changing the delivery method of continuing education courses. I truly believe this is one of my passions, and this is why I've started Grow RDH, because I strongly believe that the way that we do continuing ed is just not a nice way, a packaged way to truly learn and apply things. Yes, does it check the box? Yes, we get the continuing ed credit, but to me, in order for this continuing education to be long lasting, I really do think that there needs to be some sort of application or engagement piece that I do think a lot of continuing education is missing. And that is my passion. So that's why I wanted to build a community or build an awareness. My dream goals, like if I had all of the time and all of the resources in the planet, my dream goal would be to like once a month have like an engaging conversation with other hygienists about current strategies, current trends, current things, because I think we get so bogged down by the mundane that we don't, we kind of have our blinders on. And when we're in our practice and we're always doing the same thing with the same practitioners, I just wonder how much continuing ed is really focused on making true and lasting change or implementing things for the first time. It's hard. And so my ideal world is that we all talk to each other. We all bounce ideas off each other, just like me and my classmates who are constantly messaging over group chat, right? I think we're missing that. Maybe I'm missing that. And maybe that's a me problem. I don't know. Again, comment below if you agree or if you sort of feel the same, maybe. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And I would love to hear what continuing education means for you and how you implement change and how you tie what you've learned in a continuing ed into your daily practice and how effective that is. So that's where my professional life married with my personal life is when I started my PhD and I learned all about cognition and kind of how things happen when we learn. So also, I just love podcasts. Can I say I love podcasts? I'm a podcast girly. Here are some of my favorites. Nothing to do with dental hygiene. Absolutely nothing. My favorite podcasts are Morbid. Obsessed with Morbid. I cannot get enough. I listen to Morbid I'm constantly current. That is my number one go-to. Second favorite podcast is Financial Feminist. She's amazing. Her financial recommendations or advice has completely changed how I manage my finances. High yield savings account, anybody? High yield savings account. It's amazing. Please, check out Financial Feminist. It's awesome. Third podcast. This is a fairly new one. This started around the same time I started, which was interesting. They obviously have way more followers than I do, but we're manifesting. We're growing. Is Disrespectfully, and that is from I don't know if you guys watch Vanderpump, but Katie from Vanderpump Rules, main character Katie Maloney, and then Dana Kathan. Dana was on Vanderpump for I think 1 or 2 seasons, but they have a podcast together. It's great. It's amazing. 3 top ones. And I just love listening to podcasts. I love listening to audiobooks, and it's just what I do. I have a long commute. My commute's like 60 minutes, and so that's what I do on my commute. But anyway, so that is enough about me. I have rambled and I have hopefully shared a little bit more about me and why this podcast or why this, I guess, community I'm trying to build means a lot to me. And if you are a single mom out there, I see you, and I am sure I've probably gone through many of those same struggles as you have. So I would love to get to know you if you're a single mom. If you're interested in learning more about continuing education that's a little bit more engaged, and that really forces some reflection and implementation, that's one of my passions. I'd be your friend. And yeah, so just anybody that is interested in continuing to talk about dental hygiene. And finally, I just want to say again, thank you for those who have taken the time to support me in this venture, in this passion project, and this idea. I really appreciate it. I know many of you are some of my classmates from back in 2009. So I hear you and I see you. I appreciate you. And if you want to get involved in getting to know me, I would love to get to know you. So please reach out, comment below, tell me where you're from, tell me what your passion is, tell me why hygiene is fulfilling to you. Or tell me about your personal life, tell me about your divorce. I love getting to know new single moms. I think single mom community is so important because it's hard for us to get out there, right? We're so busy with being single moms. So I would love to get to know you. Please reach out. Please holler at me if you see me out in the wild. And in the meantime, please consider liking and subscribing this content. I will see you next Friday.